Welcome back to the Love and Land podcast, everyone. Today on the podcast, super excited about this one. If you don't know him, get out of your own shell. But I'll introduce our very special guest here today. He's a chef, restaurateur with numerous different restaurants all across Northeast Ohio, which includes Dante's in Tremont, Fire, Ginkgo, potentially even more Fire. Probably my favorite restaurant in town, one of them at least. Goma, Dante's Inferno, Coda, as well as many others. He's a business owner, philanthropist, now author of a cookbook, which is pretty exciting. I have one of them right here. It's called Cooking in Harmony. Mr. Chef Dante Boccuzzi. Chef, thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, I'm looking at this guy. I'm not much of a reader. I don't know if I'm a big audio book guy, but this is a thick guy. This is a thick book. Let's talk about the book. Yeah.
It's a lifetime worth of work.
Sure. Yeah. Tell me, how long, lifetime worth of work, like how long did this take you start to finish to be able to do this?
Well, I say a lifetime because it's based on my whole culinary journey.
Sure.
Where I started, everywhere I've been, all the different chefs, a lot of stories, a lot of insights, a handful of celebrities, different people, and then recipes from all those different areas and different influences. So, I started the book back, it's probably been like 18 years now.
Really?
So I started it when I was working in New York. I was the chef at Aureole restaurant.
Yeah.
And Charlie Palmer put out his book, and I got to participate in that. It was called The Art of Aureole. And he used all the chefs who worked through the restaurant, and we each contributed recipes, and I did the whole photo shoot. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I asked him, I said, do you mind if I do my own book? And he kind of looked at me and was like, all right. Because I ran Aureole restaurant, and he was building his empire, and he was moving away, and he was in California most of the time. So he's like, yeah, sure. So then I started doing it, but I didn't really include him in it because it just felt kind of weird.
Sure.
So I got, quotes from Danielle Boulud and from like different Nobu and other different, famous chefs in New York.
Yeah.
And then I had Charlie Trotter do the foreword rather than Charlie Palmer. So Trotter, he's from out in Chicago.
Sure.
And I just kept going, and, I had photo shoots myself and all this stuff. I was like, this is cool. I was like, all right, now, how am I going to make this happen? Do I need, publishing company to pay for it, or where am I going to get the money? So it kind of all like came to a stop. And then that's when I moved back to Cleveland.
Okay.
And then just started working and growing, and then life happens, and it kind of put it on the back burner. And then, the unfortunate thing is Charlie Trotter passed away.
Okay.
So then, a couple years ago, I'm watching the Netflix documentary. I was like, oh, man. I was like, I really got to do this. I had this foreword that he wrote for me. So I said, that was it. So I came back home. I said, we were traveling. I came back home. I said, all right, it's time to do the cookbook. And it took about a good year, I would say, because I've wrote every single recipe.
Yeah.
Everything that's in there, the intro, any word that's in that book, it came out of my mind. And then I had my son. He did a lot of the editing. He's at Harvard right now, so I figured,
Congratulations on all his success. My goodness.
Yeah. So he's like the smartest kid I know. So I was like, all right, tell me what I did wrong and fix it.
Yeah.
And then we just got it done, but it was a lot of work.
That's awesome.
A lot of work.
So we ran into each other I guess it was at Ginkgo probably 2 Fridays ago or something like that. Yeah, and you're like, I got a cookbook out. I'm like, my wife's like, oh, we'll have to pick it up. I'm like, do you think I can make anything in here? And you look at me and you're probably like, no, probably not. That's a little outside your realm. I can make a mean shrimp taco, but I'm looking at here. We got Maine lobster, green apple, Napoleon. Oh, that's not even the name of the thing. I can't even get this right to begin with over here. But you got like Maine lobster, candied apples, lemons. This is just like, look at that.
There's definitely a lot of recipes in there I'm sure you could make.
Okay.
Some of the recipes, it involves 6 or 7 or 8 recipes to make the dish. So, but it's a little complicated, but not everything.
You know what? I think because I don't do things out of passion. I do things to be like, see, I told you I could do it. I'm going to make one of these dishes here, and I'm going to come serve it to you at your place in Tremont.
Deal.
So, I like asking this question to a lot of people because, in interviews, in whatever it may be, you have the list of accomplishments that you've done, where you've worked, what you've opened, what you own, the books that you're writing, things like that. But in your own words, how would you describe yourself?
I enjoy what I do, and it just seems like, I'm happy that I found the love that, stuff that makes me happy, and
Sure.
a job that I love to do, and wake up in the morning and just go and do it. And because I just, so many people that are miserable.
Yeah,
that
totally.
can't figure it out, and, they're jumping jobs and they're never happy. And I don't know. So I'm really fortunate, and, I think it's just awesome. And because I've thought about that before. I've never really came up. I have goals, I guess, and short-term and long-term
Sure.
kind of things, but I never really had a list of okay, I got to do this, or it just, life happens, and, one opportunity opens up a door to the next opportunity. It just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think it's, in my mind, it's about just doing the right thing, try to be a good person, and do the right thing, and then just good things happen.
100%. I kind of hate it's the old interview. And how many interviews have you're in a different career than most people. Do you sit down, you give a resume and things like that now that you own businesses, but back in the day, is that what you had to do? How many interviews have you been in?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sure.
But in my business, not really. You kind of just need to show up and show them how you work.
Yeah, and make something good.
Yeah. And
so
don't burn it.
Don't burn it. So the classic, interview question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I kind of hate that question because it's I want to be in something that.
But I have an answer for that.
What do you got? Yeah, but I can pull something out of my ass if you want me to. But it was always, I want to be. I think I always answer with, I want to be doing something that I'm passionate about, that I enjoy, and that I'm happy with. Which that isn't necessarily contributed on a spreadsheet necessarily,
right.
But it is, because look, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have ever imagined that I'd be in commercial real estate, also kind of dabbling in media,
Yeah.
So but I'm super happy doing it, so it's keeping your eyes open to different opportunities and different things, because life changes and you have to change with it.
Every day.
Every day, baby. So, you have kind of built this, your empire on passion, on talent, on cooking. Where did that passion for food, cooking, restaurants, where did that really come from? I'm assuming, because I read that you started working in a restaurant at 14 years old?
I started working at Stancato's in Parma, which, he's another example of it. It is, the young kid at that time was Perry Stancato, and
Sure.
It was all these brothers, and he just, everyone's passed away, and now this kid grew an empire, and he's making sauces for everybody, and
Yeah.
it's the same kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Just good things happen to good people.
So how did that job, did you grow up cooking with your parents, grandma?
So their restaurant was a block away from my house.
Sure.
And I don't know, maybe
Just needed a job.
Or I think, my mom wanted me to start paying rent, I guess, at 14. So I would go to work. I worked every weekend all through school,
Yeah.
high school,
Wow.
which was good because it kept me out of trouble. I didn't I had no time to do anything wrong.
Sure. Yeah.
You start drinking, I guess, at a young age. But besides that, that's kind of the restaurant business. But besides that,
God forbid you'd have a few drinks once in a while. Come on,
cold beer after catering job.
Yeah.
But no, I just worked the whole time, and then once high school was over, I said, okay, what do I want to do with my life? And it was either construction or carpentry or cooking. I was like, this is fun. So I just got into CIA in New York City, and upstate New York, and went to school, and from there, and I just moved into New York City, and it just kept, once again, just opportunities and growing. And so I went to Aureole restaurant as a cook right out of school. So that was my first job.
Yeah.
And
which is huge.
It was huge, but also, back in those days, that's when, it was a 3-star. It just opened, I think, I don't know how many years, maybe 10 years at that time, possibly. Yeah. But
and this is with Charlie Palmer.
This was Charlie Palmer was in the kitchen, and all his crazy sous chefs, and it was a total different world. Nowadays,
Sure.
everyone would be sued and out of business. The stuff that we went through. Everything, Gordon Ramsay's, that's real.
Yeah.
That was real stuff.
I read somewhere that Charlie Palmer threw an overcooked steak at you. Is that true?
Hit me right. No, that wasn't at me. He has done it. Did I put that in the book? Yeah. That was this guy who worked for me.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I guess he's done it a lot.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, he did.
So what is the difference between...
He would throw it, like, this is bullshit, and he'd throw it right at you and, like, make another one, yeah.
That's amazing.
So, yeah. So my buddy of mine had hit him right in the chest. Though.
Sure. Well, what kind of steak was it? Was it like a little filet, or was it like a bone-in ribeye? His
was like a ribeye. Yeah. Yeah, he really messed up.
So you got 16 ounces coming right at you, and you also overcooked it, so it's definitely harder.
Like the one time I came in to work, it's a normal day of work. I walk in and chef comes right up to me, Chef Palmer, and he takes his Sharpie and he writes on my jacket, like messy or dirty or something like that. He just writes it. That's my new name tag. And I looked down and I was like, oh, man. So he just started ridiculing me because, my station was a mess. I wasn't organized.
Yeah.
The refrigerator was dirty, whatever it was. It's just like pig. I think that's what he wrote was pig. I was like,
it's like, yikes, man. So, I mean, about what year is that? Early 90s?
Yeah, that was like 90.
Yeah.
91, 92.
I mean, walk me through. I mean, legally you can't do a lot of these things.
No, there's,
now.
and I mean, not
of course it's changed.
Talking about Charlie, but that was like the norm. Every restaurant everywhere.
Yeah.
You would get yelled at, pans thrown at you, whatever.
Sure.
It was all about everything better have been perfect for that customer.
How did that shape you, though? I know it's tough love and it's kind of crazy to hear now, but how much of an impact did that actually have on you?
You either stuck with it and dealt with it
and
improved, or you didn't, and you were gone. And
trial
they
by
would
fire.
get rid of you. Yeah. It was all trial by fire. So the same thing. I had, like in the one station when I was actually cooking hot appetizers.
Yeah.
You only had 3 dishes. That's it, which isn't a lot. I mean, now I dump a lot of dishes on all my cooks.
Yeah.
But one of the things I had to do was toast bread. And I was just like, well, can't we just buy a damn toaster? I was like, why do I got to toast the bread?
So you're putting it on a skillet.
Like on a tray and in like a salamander thing.
Sure.
I don't know how many pieces of bread came flying at me all the time. Because you forget and it's burned. And it was just, that was the thing. So you just learn to duck and keep working. And But, you would get burned and there's, the battle wounds. But
sure,
you were going to war and it was a war you wanted to be in.
At one, being in that environment, you go to CIA, which is,
They don't tell you any of that stuff.
Of course, yeah. But you also are a trained chef, going to a very, great institution there. Was there ever a moment where you're like, well, first off, this isn't what I signed up for. Number two, am I on the right? Was there ever a moment where you were like, maybe this isn't for me, kind of being in that environment right out of college, or did you love it?
I mean, it's kind of like it's an instant challenge in a sense. And I would get angry. I would get mad because I'm like, no, damn it. I could do this.
Yeah.
And I
mad at them or mad at yourself?
Kind of both.
Yeah.
Mad at them, but I'm mad at myself. Like, all right, you got to do this. Sure. And I would just show up earlier, work harder, stay later. And that was just the mentality because I was like, I don't know. There's like an excitement to it too, And,
sure.
And camaraderie and everyone working together. I mean, we're all getting abused together.
Yeah.
So it's like
revolting against the lunch lady. That's what you do when you're a kid. You're like, I'm just trying to enjoy my mozzarella sticks. So,
But I mean, not to cut you off, but like in order to be the best, that was my mentality. In order to be a great chef someday, I have to work for the best.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there.
And was that really your mentality back then of like, I have to work for the best because I want to be the best?
Well, it was hard not to think that way because we would do dinners with other chefs and, Thomas Keller or, all these other, Danielle Boulud and you'd go in their kitchen and it would be worse.
Sure.
Danielle's kitchen was, because everything was in French on top of it.
Oh, so my gosh.
You didn't understand anything.
Jeez.
And he's screaming at the top of his lungs. But, I mean, these are the best restaurants in the world. And you're like, wow, I'm in this kitchen working. And I don't know, maybe someday I'll be running these kitchens.
Coming from blue-collar Parma and blue-collar Cleveland, what was it like being in these, fancy New York, whatever it may be, kitchens? Was it a eye-opening experience for you? Like, was it shell-shocking, or did you just embrace it? Did you love it?
No, it was always shell-shocking.
Sure.
Like even going to college itself, because I don't know, when you're going through these classes and everything is, French cuisine and all these words and all this techniques and all this stuff. And I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know how to make chicken parm.
I had a hell of a chicken parm.
Yeah. And that was the thing. You're like, so I mean, I was constantly learning, and it's all new, and it's exciting,
Yeah.
But and also amazing to be in these environments with, with these great chefs and
Sure.
Celebrities in the dining room. There was, I don't know, Rolling Stones in the kitchen at one time, and we're cooking. And
Rolling Stones were there?
One time when I was working with Danielle, yeah. I mean, just stuff like that would happen all the time.
Yeah. I think I read in a Cleveland magazine or something like that, that it wasn't when you kind of fell in love with, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not that you didn't fall in love with culinary or like, cooking and being a chef. It was kind of everything around it too. It's, being with these, extraordinary people and being able to serve all these different people. Was that a huge component of it too? Was maybe your love as equal for serving as it was for cooking?
Yeah, because everything was going well.
Sure.
So, I mean, you're cooking and everyone's enjoying it.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Because if that's not happening, then it's like...
There's so much, like, I'm not on any level, but I've served people. I've done Thanksgiving dinner for my wife's family. It's stressful, like, because that's a big. I did the turkey last year, and I'm like, I was prepping for like 4 days, and I'm like, I just can't. I can't screw up the turkey on Christmas. You feel that on
not
Thanksgiving,
the holidays,
not
you
on
can't
the
mess
holidays.
up people's holidays.
And so you feel that just about every day because you're at a restaurant and you run a restaurants. That this is a night out for people. This is a special occasion. So there has to be an added pressure there.
Always. And I mean, it's funny because anytime we do weddings or holidays, I'll have a long talk with the staff and they probably get tired of hearing it.
Sure.
But this is somebody's special day. This is their wedding. We can't mess up because otherwise every anniversary, we're the topic of conversation of how we ruined that day. Or remember how they burnt, or I don't know. We cannot go down there. This is their day. And we put ourselves aside and we got to make sure it's right always. And I have these conversations all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's important. You got to do it.
So you were in the 90s, you were with Aureole, then you went to San Francisco.
After the 90s, like after Aureole, because I worked there about 5 years as a cook and then, or 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
But then I went to Charlie. I was like, all right, I want to travel. And so that's when I went to Europe and, spent a lot of time in London, and I worked in Italy and in the south of France. And it was the same thing. It was just a continued adventure all the time.
Yeah.
New territory, new languages, new everything. I mean, and that's what I love about the restaurant business, because there's always something to learn. There's always something new. And even now myself.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's what the book shows is there's dishes in there that, I came up with while I was doing the cookbook. Just because it was ideas that became other ideas, and it was stuff that we just had on the menu and I learn from my people that work with me, and that's why I just love what I do, because it's never ending.
What was it? 98, 99, you were working in, you had been working in some of the top kitchens all across the world. And then 98, 99, you were nominated for James Beard Rising Star Award 2 years in a row, correct?
So yeah, that was my first chef job, and that was in San Francisco at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel.
Yeah.
And I got nomination 2 years in a row. James Beard, Rising Star Chef, so you had to be under 30 years old. And I know, different people get nominated nowadays. And,
sure.
And you're either on the short semifinalist list where it's like 20 people.
Yeah.
And then they narrow it down to 5. So I made always to the 5 at that time.
Yeah.
So I was
not to brag or anything,
Yeah, but it's just to lay the law down. I mean, I still lost, and I
it's
just
okay, but hey,
I wasn't.
huge.
Yeah, I didn't win.
Yeah.
But I was on stage there, and that was the thing. I said, well, I lost alongside with Jose Andres lost, standing right next to me.
Yeah.
Marcus Samuelson, great chef. I mean, we all lost.
Sure. Yeah.
And the winner, I don't even remember who he is and where he is, but
he's some schlub working at the IHOP or something like that. But, during that time, looking around, what were you doing differently that just garnered so much attention to be able to do this and to get that notoriety?
When it first, because I remember like the day we got this fax that came in.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy man, I'm nominated for an award at James Beard House. And I think it was, I don't know, I was in my element. I was in a new environment and, in San Francisco where you have the best of the best farmers are bringing stuff to the door.
Yeah.
And it was just inspiring because everything was new and I lived like near Chinatown, so I would go in there and I'd see all these ingredients I've never even heard of. And it was just like, in a candy store, you're like just trying different things and coming up with new ideas. And
Sure.
And I was just reading a lot of, seeing what other chefs were doing. I was like, oh, that sounds like a good flavor combination. And I would take their idea and make it my own and change it. And I don't know, it was just a moment of growing and trying and experimenting and I think that's just how it just came about.
Yeah.
But I mean, always based on the classics and the different things I learned, before that, working at Aureole and working in Europe. And
Sure. Is there like something that you can look back at that time and be like, that's the dish that got me nominated or in the conversation for James Beard?
I think I had one dish and it's a version of it is in here. And it was, I mean, it might not have got me for James Beard, but it was something that people were talking about where I took what's his name? Michael Mina was doing a dish of seared tuna and foie gras.
Yeah.
And so I would, I would eat at Aqua restaurant at that time. And I was like, wow, that's a great dish. So then I took this idea and I turned it into a tuna foie gras terrine. And I put it on the menu and then they wrote about it in the San Francisco Chronicle. And then the cool thing is like a week later, Thomas Keller, and this is when the French Laundry just blew up and his book came out and he was doing a class and he was talking about my dish at his class.
Wow.
And I was a young punk.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of a punk, but I was a young punk and I was like, that's cool.
That is very cool.
So that's a dish that's kind of stuck with me all through the years. And yeah, there's a rendition of it in this book now.
Sure. Then you go back to Aureole, correct? And
as the chef, yeah.
As the executive chef there. Is that the first time that they won a Michelin star?
So that's when the Michelin Guide first came to America.
Okay.
And New York City was the first city that
It took that long?
It took a while. It wasn't.
Wow.
Yeah, I forget the year, but yeah, it's.
This is early 2000s, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2002 or 3 or something
Sure.
like that. But that's when they came to New York, and we received 1 Michelin star. And I take full credit for it because once again, I was there every day making it happen.
I was already going to give you full credit.
Thanks.
Yeah, you don't even have to say anything. What is the process for a Michelin star? Because you hear it, and as a normal person who just likes going to restaurants, you're like, ooh, la-ti-da, they have a Michelin star. But what is the grueling process of it to be able to earn that?
I mean, once you know that the guide is watching you, basically.
Yeah.
Like the big brother is watching you. So, I mean, you never know when they're going to come to the restaurant. So you're always on edge and everything has to be perfect as much as possible all the time. Yeah. Every customer, every table, all the time. And that's the only way.
How long did you know that they were watching you or could be coming in? Was it
you really had no idea because, like in every city, you know who the food critics are. So as soon as they walk in, you know who they are and okay, take extra attention to that table. Yeah. But like with the Michelin Guide, you don't know who's doing the rating and who's dining. And I think, once they would figure it out, the restaurant would send a picture to the other restaurants and then it, it ends up on their wall in the back.
Okay. Yeah.
But you still everything still had to be right. Everything had to be cooked perfectly. Services got to be perfect. The timing, how the place looks, the plates, the silver. I mean, every little thing has to be perfect all the time. And I mean, it's extreme pressure. And then on top of it, I had, Charlie Palmer, because it's his name, his restaurant on the line. So then it's even more pressure to okay, I can't, let my chef down kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was a lot. And just to get one is a pretty, I mean, I'm extremely happy about it.
Yeah. First off, what a life accomplishment, and professional accomplishment. But like, even if so, like everything's perfect. Obviously, you have to be. But like, take for example, if they're there and something that is completely out of your hands, a patron walks into a waitress and they drop a whole platter or a plate or something like that. Are you deducted then, or is it not quite that grueling?
I wouldn't.
Or is it more around the food
I wouldn't
service?
think so.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Potentially, you don't know.
I'm stressed just thinking about it.
But it's kind of. But if you like nowadays, because now I'm at a point, I'm almost 55. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
53 right there.
Why are you aging yourself? Say you're about 50.
Yeah, but I don't know. But I'm at a point because like even before, like what do you want to do in life and that kind of thing. I'm just like now I'm trying to streamline, make life easier.
Yeah.
And kind of slow down, I guess, in a sense. I'm still going to do what I do all the time, but still, I don't know, my mind slow down.
Sure. So you win the Michelin star in 2006. And then 2007, you come back to Cleveland. When, and opened up Dante and Tremont. Shout out Dante's. Love it. What was the thought process? Were you just kind of done? You want to do your own thing? Or what was the thought process of coming back to Cleveland?
It was an opportunity to do my own thing and yeah, open my own restaurant.
Sure.
But
and you didn't want to do it in New York or anything? You wanted to come
No,
back?
I just think the craziness in New York and the cost behind it and the pressure and I don't know. It just felt good to come home and try to do it at home,
Was it always the plan, or was there something that changed in your life where, I want to
It
come
wasn't
back?
really a plan. I never really wanted my own restaurant.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I just didn't really think about it.
Sure.
And then the opportunity came up.
And now you have like 15. Life comes at you fast.
It does. But I never really planned it.
Sure.
But then it was a whole new aspect of what I do, and it's beyond cooking and more creativity, and then you're part of every part of the restaurant and design and names and branding
And about what age were you at that? Are you mid 30s ish?
Yeah, that was in my 30s. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that had to be invigorating to a degree of a new kind of chapter in your career. Talk to me about that time, and it's like, this is the pressure on me. But I also not only have all the pressure, but I also am getting all the accolades where it's not someone else's restaurant that I am earning a Michelin star for.
See, and that's a good thing. Because when that finally happens, because before, one of my chef jobs, I was the chef for Nobu, and I ran the Nobu restaurant in Milan. Mm-hmm. So I was the chef, but you have Chef Nobu, who just made the Austin Powers movie, and he's this mega chef, and he has 50, 60 restaurants. And then the restaurant was owned by George Armani, who's, the biggest designer in the world.
Insane.
And then there's little old me. So I fought to try to get my name out and try to do things.
Sure.
But I could never get it past any of these people.
Yeah.
And then finally there was one article, and they did this dish and this whole thing, and then they didn't even put my name in it. And I was like, and the guy promised me, they're going to mention you. And I was like, so yeah, once it's all yours and it's all your work and you're getting all the accolades and everything, appreciation for what you're doing and all the hard work, that was like, all right, finally, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And also, what did it mean for you to be able to do it? It's great to do it, in New York, or it would have been phenomenal, San Francisco, whatever it may be. But you did come home, and you have really put a stamp on the culinary scene here in Cleveland, which is the best kept secret in America, if not the world, of culinary. And you were able to be one of the leaders in that charge. Talk to me about that and what it meant for you, and to be a big part of the city and the positivity of the city from a culinary and restaurant aspect.
I think it's just, a big part of it is just the size of Cleveland. In New York, you get lost. You're one of millions, and it's really hard to make a stamp. And I can't imagine. I was doing it, and it's just draining.
Sure.
And then just life itself is draining in New York.
Yeah.
Traveling and commuting. And
it's a big pain in the butt.
It's a pain in the butt. No, it really is. It's exciting, but it's a pain in the butt at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having the whole, big fish in a small pond kind of mentality, and And you feel the love because that's what Cleveland does. We embrace and
Totally.
we really, take care of our own kind of thing. And that was like the best part about it. Cause just like opening night at my restaurant, when we did Dante, it was in the middle of January in a snowstorm. And I remember I just got on Facebook. I really didn't know anything about social media and all this stuff. And I just made this announcement. I was like, everyone's invited. And like 400 or 500 people showed up.
Oh my gosh.
Where you couldn't walk in the building, and it was just amazing. There was a traffic jam in Tremont. You couldn't get around the streets. They had to call in the police department.
Oh my God.
No, it was unbelievable.
It's a scene.
But something like that in New York, I don't know. I mean, I guess it happens, but it meant so much more because it's the hometown love.
Yeah, and what did that mean? Obviously it means a lot to people here, but what did that mean to you? A new chapter in your career, in your life.
It was just like. It was a sign of relief because all the steps before that, just getting everything going and running, and like, if this doesn't work out, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Sure.
But then it was just this, you start in that fashion. It was like, okay, cool. Thank God.
I don't think I could ever own a restaurant because even on like a slow Tuesday night, I'd be like, where the hell is everyone? Why aren't they here? I would just be a wreck.
And that's kind of like, back to the whole perfectionism and all that kind of stuff. That's something through the years that, I'm just learning to let go and learning to fight the battles that are important. And I think a lot of that comes with being a business owner in itself. Because you kind of like put everything into perspective. And that was something huge because before that, I would just drive myself crazy.
Sure. How long did it take for you to kind of get over that?
I think it was just...
Or did not put so much stake in it?
It was just like a reality check. Like, I mean, after once I opened a couple of restaurants when I had Ginkgo and, I was down in Akron, and then it was just driving back and forth, and then, everything's busy. And I was like, well, I only have two hands. And there's only so many hours and I could only do so much. And that's when you have to learn to trust.
Sure.
And put trust in the people that you're paying to do their job.
Yeah.
And hopefully they are. And if they're not, then you got to find somebody who is. But it was a matter of trusting and letting go.
Sure. And, you're all over the place now. I mean, you have how many restaurants do you have or that you're associated with?
I think it's like around 8 or 9.
8 or 9?
Something like that.
It's an incredible rap sheet. You also, coffee company, now writing cookbooks.
Yeah.
What else am I missing?
Well, we're opening a new restaurant, Masu in Brecksville, another sushi restaurant.
Yeah.
I have other projects going. I'm just waiting for announcements and things.
Totally. And, from someone who is a chef who
I know I'm supposedly slowing down. But.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, 100%. But, for someone that has been brought up in that perfectionism, it is your name on the brand. You can't be in 8, 9 different places at once. I mean, I see you at Dante's all the time. I see you at Ginkgo all the time, but you can't be everywhere at once. What was it like for you to learn how to manage trust and also put systems into place to make sure that it is operating under your standards when you aren't there?
I think another key part to the puzzle is the partnerships.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of the restaurants I'm in, I have working partners. So if I'm not there, they're there. So there's more people helping and babysitting and making sure everything is good. And I think that's key. And then, I've had other restaurants where none of the partners were involved, and I was the only one trying to do it, and they ended up closing.
Yeah.
Because it's a team effort.
What's an example of that?
I would say Dukes and Boots.
Oh, Dukes and Boots, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a misfire.
Sure.
And I just expected different things, and I mean, nothing against the community or anything.
Yeah,
It just didn't go the way I thought it would go.
Yeah, yeah. We've talked about it because
I just moved out there right now anyway. So I love the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It has nothing to do about the community. It just has to do with like little things in retail where I think if you were a block farther into Willoughby, it would have been a completely different story.
It could be the simplest little thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting. So, I mean, but this is a good segue into what I want to talk about as well too, of like, when you first opened Dante 07, it was kind of like a renaissance period in restaurants.
Cleveland's food scene was changing. That's when,
totally.
At the same time, like right before I opened, that's when Michael Simon got on Iron Chef.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in Lola with him when we were watching that episode with him and, a bunch of people. And
yeah.
But it was cool. That's when everything started happening. And then you had East 4th was just coming together and blowing up, and you had Jonathan Sawyer and all these other new restaurants. And Food Network was kind of taking over Cleveland, and then Rocco got on his shows. And so I mean, Cleveland was blowing up. It was cool. Well, I mean, and it still is cool.
I mean, it still is cool.
Kind of that's when it was starting.
But there's the and I think that this, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a different day and age of the chef and restaurateur where, you know, you're like if you don't want to admit this or not, but you're a celebrity chef in town. Rocco is a celebrity chef in town. Michael Simon, you know, he doesn't have restaurant. He has a few restaurants here now, but like celebrity chef. Is that changing the day and age of the celebrity chef and being able to do that brand? Do you have to do it differently now if you're starting a restaurant, if you're trying to look at that empire, or, you know, what is your opinion on that?
I mean, it's definitely an evolving thing.
Yeah.
And I still fight it because it's just not me, but I fight it and I adapt. But social media and the internet is such a huge part.
Yeah.
Where my mind is still on the classics and making a reservation and showing up in a suit and having a great meal. Yeah. And not how many likes and how many posts. But I don't know, it's adapting and doing what's necessary to fill the seats in your restaurant. And you gotta be a part of it.
It is. I mean, it's no secret. You do have to have an element, which I'm sure is annoying to you, of a Instagrammable, you know, restaurant, Instagrammable dishes.
I mean, for me, it is annoying. But for me, as long as it's not gimmicky.
Sure.
Because when the stuff is gimmicky, and I mean, I could go on and on about things in restaurants and people.
Yeah.
That's why I'll come up with, you know, I'll work on stuff that has substance, like a cookbook, or I don't know, promote the coffee company and, you know, different things, or, you know, just what Coda itself is like a great place to bring in talent and amazing artists from around the country. And then it's stuff like that that's tangible and not just like, hey, we got pink popcorn and
sure. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
As a chef, I can't do it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. But also too, what is super Instagrammable is always going to be something that's quality and great. You know, you can't get past that, no matter how.
True. No, it is. It's an amazing idea.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's
but
wild.
It's only out there for 5 minutes or whatever,
but
or a short span of time.
I think it's more sustainable though when you more focus on quality, great experience, X, Y, and Z rather than some razzle dazzle. Like razzle dazzle. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the razzle dazzle is only there for the moment.
Absolutely, it's something that is not super sustainable.
No.
Yeah, I love that. Love that for you. And also too, like an experience. During COVID, I feel like the restaurant experience has not gotten back to 2019.
No, life has changed.
Yeah.
It's certainly changed. And I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of why I had to close DBA down in Akron.
Yeah.
And that was like this New Year's Eve was the last night. And that was just the thing. It was one of those casualties of COVID, and it just never bounced back because life has changed, and it's even harder.
Yeah.
And it takes more of that attention and to every detail, just like the Michelin guides coming in.
Yeah.
And, you know, and plus now with all the prices of everything going up, and I mean, restaurant business it's not easy anymore like it used to be.
What is the difference between now and 2007? I'm sure that's a loaded question.
Well, but even like right before COVID, when all that stuff, you know, when it first started, people were out till all hours of the night.
Yeah.
Partying, drinking, eating. Now you walk around, most restaurants are closed by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it's not just Cleveland, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody last night about it. It's just in New York City, it's the same thing.
It's crazy.
People are home in bed. I don't know why. I mean,
I'm not
either. But like, where did everyone go?
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, it is so interesting because, like, I mean,
but everyone's habits have changed.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that again, that's out of your control.
A lot more delivery, Uber Eats, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, let's bring back being social.
Yeah,
you know, it's a lot more fun out there.
I mean, I had a blast even all through COVID. I had a blast.
Yeah,
I was out even more and later.
Yeah,
because it was against the law. You know?
Yeah, bad boy Dante Boccuzzi over here, baby. You know, with all the things that you have, I want to know your day to day. Like, what's a day in the life of Dante Boccuzzi?
It was funny because with the social media stuff, that was one thing I was going to do. I had a guy follow me around.
Sure.
Just to see what because even myself, I'm amazed sometimes of how many things I'll get done in one day.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like maybe it's like an obsessive problem where I just
Sure.
can't relax. And I just can't. There's so many things I want to do, and I have a lot of lists going on my desk or on my phone. And I mean, I'll live by the calendar because I got 10 more minutes. I can fit one more thing in.
Yeah.
And, there's just so many things going on, and I love it. But, I try to wake up early and, take care of myself and do, keep the wife happy and keep balance. Balance is key, definitely.
How do you retain that when, already being in the restaurant industry is because you're working weird hours and hard hours. How do you find the balance? Like, what do you do?
Well, even
what is kind of your focus?
Now where I'm at, I have enough people under me.
Yeah.
And I'm learning to say no, which is another thing.
Yeah.
Just to
But the
grow.
saying is, yes, chef. You can't say no, chef. Come on.
Right. But then it's like, it comes in the whole balance thing. I was like,
100%.
all right, so if I do this, I don't know, does it really make sense for me in my time? And not that it's got to be a monetarily thing, but just time itself. There's only so many hours. And I mean, I have 6 kids now, 2 grandkids almost. One's on the way.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife has 2 and I have 4. So it's like, there's more and more things pulling at you. And so, yeah, it all comes down to balance and learning to say no. And I still have a lot of learning to do. I have a hard time saying no, but I do it more often now.
What is something that you'll always say yes to? A big old paycheck.
Anything. Yeah. Well, just because that's the thing too. Everyone thinks, oh, you're a celebrity chef. You got all these restaurants. You're rich. No, it's a paycheck is very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because life's expensive.
Well, and life's expensive, but also I think it was like when I was in TV too, people thought I was so rich because I was on TV. It's just like not the case. Number one, I'm on local television. Yeah. But I mean, with the restaurant, it's margins are so thin. Is that probably the biggest, misconception that people have of you?
I mean, there are restaurants that are just busy all the time and printing money.
Yeah.
And when you have one of those, you're extremely fortunate. And I think I've had some here and there, like through waves where it's like printing, but then there's times when the machine's not even on. So it just, it's tough.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to think and come up with a new idea and what's next? And that's why I'm always like that's why I don't relax. Just trying to always be relevant.
Where did that work ethic come from for you?
I would say definitely my parents. My dad's 80 some years old and he's at the restaurant right now, right this minute.
Really?
Yeah. He punches in and he's fixing things and cleaning and
That's awesome.
he's like 80. I mean, you saw, I think we played golf together.
Yeah. I bet your dad. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it comes from him. Just the drive and the energy.
Sure. Yeah. One thing I have to say, speaking of, before I'm what doctors call ADD. So if I don't say it now, I might forget. But, we both are involved with the American Cancer Society Greater Cleveland Golf Outing at Canterbury. Phenomenal year. How many years have you been a part of it? Like 10, 15, 10?
I mean, almost my whole time here in Cleveland. Yeah, at least 10 years, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
One way or another.
And it is amazing because every year Dante donates, I guess you would say, a dinner for, 15, 20 people?
And that's been growing because it started with 4 and then it went to 10. Yeah, it's like, somewhere around
And the amount of money that you have been able to raise in that has been incredible.
It's amazing. I think last year was the record.
Was
40,000. Yeah.
Insane.
No, it makes you cry because it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And to know that that is going towards such a great cause and, but I just wanted to be able to say thank you for doing that and continuing to do that. And also a good plug for the American Cancer Society Greater Cleveland Golf Outing. If you want to go check it out, let us know. So it's a fun event.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
I love that event.
Yeah. I look forward to it.
100%. All right, cool. Let's get some quick hitters before we rock and roll here, before we head out. But thank you so much for your time, by the way. This has been a blast. Most famous person you've cooked for?
I mean, there's been a lot. But I was Robert De Niro's private chef for about a year or so.
You took my next question. I was going to ask, what did Robert De Niro, how did he like his eggs cooked?
He only drinks he would drink like 12 espressos a day.
Really? So that was a pretty easy gig.
I mean, yeah, for his, I mean, it was more cooking for the kids and the wife and everybody, but
Yeah.
and the staff. I really don't. I mean, he would just have normal Italian food or no, because he's a partner in Nobu, so I would have to make stuff like that sometimes. But
Okay. How did you get that gig?
just a buddy of mine called me up. He was a chef and he just had a double hip surgery and he couldn't walk. And he's like, dude, you want to cook for Bob this weekend? I was like, all right, cool. I was like, who's Bob? He's like, Bobby D. I was like, all right. Robert De Niro. I was like, yeah, hell yeah. So then it was like a whole 4th of July weekend and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And that's when he was filming Meet the Parents or Meet the Fox. So he had that bald head and he comes in the kitchen. And then he was just like in the movie. And I turned around and he was standing right there. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a great guy, but he's just real quiet and to himself. And
Is he?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think so like I cooked for like Samuel Jackson's been in the restaurant a few times and he's awesome, super nice.
Who's the most fun celebrity that you've cooked for?
I mean, probably him.
Samuel
Just because
Jackson.
he was, down to earth. And I mean, he's a funny guy, just how you see him, that's exactly how he was.
For sure.
Then, I mean, a lot of my heroes, I got to meet and cook for Eric Clapton,
Awesome.
Phil Collins. I mean, all these music people, like, I don't know, my whole life where, you think about these people and like, what if I met them someday or something?
Yeah.
And then just because of my career, all these things just like come to play. It's a crazy thing. And that was like with Coda, all I've been doing is booking hair metal bands that my whole life I would go travel and see at the Richfield Coliseum and all over town. And, they're sold out. And then here I'm hanging out with these guys that I bought every one of their albums and went to all these shows, and here they're playing down in Coda. So, I mean, it's
awesome.
stuff like that.
That is cool.
Which, if you're not my age, you might not appreciate it, but the people that are like, whoa, dude.
Where did your love of music come from? Because even it's involved in a lot of things with your. I even looked. I realized I put 2 and 2. I was like, that's a guitar pick.
Yes.
I've seen this logo a million times. Have never realized that. And then I'm also like, I wonder why he cooked it Cooking in Harmony. I'm like, oh, harmony, music, idiot. Like, where did this come from?
So, I mean, I always like played guitar and, I just had a love. And for the longest time, I was a singer.
Okay.
I mean, not professional or anything,
Sure.
but I would like kill it at karaoke concerts.
What is your karaoke go-to?
Back in the day, it was always Led Zeppelin. And
Nice.
I mean, I would win.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I can't hit them as high. But,
Sure.
but then, like, through my travels in Europe when I was cooking and traveling, I met this guy and we recorded CDs.
Okay.
And he was just this blues guitarist. So I wrote all these lyrics. Some of the songs are pretty cool. I'll get you a copy of it
I'd love
next
to.
time I see
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
And we could play it on the air. It'd be awesome.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Get more radio time. But so then I ended up writing 2 CDs with this guy. And so I don't know, it was just this other passion. And then I, started playing more guitar and taking that serious and taking more lessons. And I went to guitar camp.
Nice.
So I did guitar camp with Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. So that was something pretty badass too.
That's
I got
pretty
to play on stage with Steve Vai.
No way.
Yeah, talk about nerve. I was more nervous than cooking for Thomas Keller.
100%.
Way more. But music's always been a part of my life, and just one more thing where I want to master. And now it's like cooking. I finally understand it and know I'm not the greatest, but I love it.
Coda has to. Now I'm also putting 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Led
Zeppelin, but and also because it means the tail end or like the end. So it kind of, like in a song, there's the coda, which brings the song back to the beginning. It's like a melody that'll bring the song back to the beginning. If you like look at music, it'll say the coda, and then if you listen to it, you'll understand how it just the melody will bring it right back to the chorus or the beginning of the song. So, anyways, coda in the building, it was the last thing I did in that building. It was kind of like the tail end and brought it. I know, pretty profound.
What a poet! My God.
I got that from a buddy of mine, Artie.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you got to call it Coda. I was like, oh, that's a good name. Led Zeppelin. He goes, no, it's in the. I was like, okay, all right, that makes sense.
See, we were on the same track at least. Yeah. Don't give the credit to Artie.
I was just on the phone with him a couple hours ago.
Nice. Who's someone that you would dream to cook for that you haven't yet?
There's still a list of people I want to meet. Robert Plant and Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
And I was like 5 minutes away from Robert Plant. He He was at my buddy's restaurant when I was working in New York.
Yeah.
He goes, dude, Robert Plant's here. So then I like rushed out of the restaurant, and Charlie Palmer was there that night. He's never like in town, and he was there standing next to me. I was like, shit, I can't get out of here. And I was like, chef, I got to go. And so I just missed Robert Plant for like 5 minutes. I was like, I got to meet him.
Brutal. Yeah.
Jimmy Page. I got to meet Giselle. That was like,
oh, nice.
Check that one off the list.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, there's a handful still of people like that, mostly musicians.
For sure. I love it. If you are home making, if you're having just like friends over, no pressure, but just like, just a casual whatever day it may be, what is your favorite thing to cook for leisure for yourself and for friends?
I would say if I don't even really think about it, it always falls onto pasta.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, pasta is an amazing thing. And when it's right and it's seasoned right, and it's like when I lived in Italy, there were times I remember eating pasta 3 times a day.
Oh my gosh.
At least twice, many times, because we'd go out till 3 a.m, you come back and cook it again, and then you're up to three times. But I mean, when it's right, it's amazing,
It really is. So growing up,
linguine and clams, that's my favorite.
I could mess around with some of that.
Yeah.
So like growing up as a Midwestern kid, I would have like the boxed pasta, and,
and
my mom would make it, and we're Swedish and have nothing to do with Italy or anything like that. But that was kind of my, or we go to a place in Rockford or whatever it may be. The first time I had amazing pasta, I was like, oh, it was at Scarpetta in New York.
Okay, yeah,
and I'm like, this is different.
Oh, it's crazy, right?
Insane. Yeah, you're right. Nothing hits better than like really, really good pasta. Okay, 3 more questions for you. Besides your restaurant, what's your favorite Cleveland restaurant?
You know what? I eat at all of Doug Katz's restaurants.
Yeah.
So we're at Amba at least once or twice a month.
Okay.
Kiln.
Yeah.
Kiln is awesome.
I haven't been to Kiln yet.
Kiln is really good.
Yeah.
We were just there the other day.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Same idea, but it's American food, and it's always good. I mean, that's what I love about Doug, is because it's consistent and it's always good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then your night's you don't have to think about it. You just know.
It's already good. Yeah, it's all good. Whatever I order
else.
is going to be phenomenal. How will the Cavs finish this year?
Oh, we're winning.
Think so?
Yeah, we got it. I think right now, maybe they're losing a couple here and there. I think they're just easing up. And
everyone's losing their minds. Like, it's like,
no,
guys.
I think when a time comes, they don't need, we're already in.
Yeah.
So why kill yourself?
Do you want them killing themselves to
have the best record? Who cares?
Who cares? No, I want them to win the freaking championship.
Yeah.
This team hits different.
You have to.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of them come through and, talk to different. I know that's what they're thinking. That's what they're doing.
I love it. All right.
It's all a strategy.
Dante, thank you so much for having us. Real quick, plug anything you want to. Where can we get the cooking book? Cooking in Harmony. Check it out right here. Where can we find restaurants, more information on you?
Yeah, so my website is danteboccuzzi.com, which is my name. And on the website, there's a pop-up as soon as you click on it, it'll show you where you could buy the cookbook.
Yeah.
So through the website or at any of my restaurants, you could come and get it. I don't know if I'll do like the Amazon thing or anything, but
sure.
I'm working on getting in different bookstores and stuff as well.
Sweet.
Look forward to book signings and then my Nirvana Coffee Company. Once you're on the website, so there, I roast fresh coffee every week, and you could do a different subscription, and I just roast it and mail it right to your house. It's all organic and
that's
stuff.
Sweet.
No, it's awesome.
I'm here for efficiency with coffee. Do you have the K cups?
No, it's just whole beans.
You were so offended.
Well, because I was just like, I don't even know where do you buy them? How do you fill them?
Yeah.
Sounds crazy.
Oh, you already signed this. We're good.
Cool.
I was going to ask you to sign it for me.
Well, I just got to add your name.
Oh. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. And Instagrams, you have like...
I have all that. I don't know what it is, but I have it.
Yeah.
It's like my name, or there's one for all the restaurants.
Just look up Dante.
Yeah, I mean, I try to pay people to take care of it. So. I come up with ideas.
That's the first
I was
thing
like,
you're saying no to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll come up with the ideas and I'll shoot them the picture. I was like, here, post this. Or just do what you're supposed to do.
I love it.
Otherwise, you're on your phone all the time,
I know.
And that's not a good. It's not a good thing.
I have semi-made my brand somewhat social media, so I'm on all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you have
video editing
I
all
mean,
the time.
it is what it is.
It's a pain in the butt. But
I'm supposed to be in the kitchen all the time.
that's where you need to be.
Yeah.
And that's where we appreciate you where you're at. Dante, anything you got for me? Any questions? What do you got?
I don't know, man.
You got nothing.
No, I'm going to see you soon. We're going to play some golf.
Yeah, we played last year and it was not an impressive.
Yeah, I think we
showing.
need to practice before the outing.
Yeah.
I think that's a good plan.
Yeah, that was key. Yeah.
Once it stops raining.
I was bad. You were pretty average.
I was okay. Yeah,
you were
average.
good.
Yeah, average is a good word.
I was bad. Yeah. I just knew you had more in the tank. That's why I'm saying average. But you also said that.
I improved by the end of the season, but
Yeah.
then we go into winter and then you got to start all over again.
See, my best round is typically my first round.
Really?
Because I don't give a shit. And then I'm like, all right. Like the more I start trying, and then
thinking.
I start thinking, I start tweaking little things here. By the end of it, I'm just already tweaked out. So then I suck. So
Yeah, golf's it's one of those give
my
and
story,
take.
and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. It's one of those give and take things. You just gotta keep trying.
Yeah, or just give up altogether.
Yeah, but it's fun.
It is fun.
It is
fun.
fun.
Cool. All right, Dante, thank you so much, man. I appreciate
My pleasure,
you.
man.
Yeah, cheers, bud.
Thank you.